Thank you, everyone, for staying with us. This is Global Television, watching live broadcast of Global Morning, Tuesday's edition with Uya Agumofwegbe and my colleague, Queen Agaba. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Officially so. All right, so just before you joined a while ago, I started talking about two basic issues. First, I talked about the accusations about the 2024 budget being padded, which is now an ongoing debate between some senators and the presidency, that is the executive. But more importantly, I talked about the power sector. How that the minister, Debola Adelabu, is now saying that he is also very concerned about how that in the last few weeks in particular, Nigerians have had to live with continual, in some cases, continuous power cuts. And he has said Nigerians have to exercise some more patience, because I think patience is part of the renewed hope agenda, because if it's not President Bola Tinubu telling us to be patient, it is one of the aides or a minister in this case, right, saying Nigerians should be patient. Of course, that's a no-brainer. We've got to, Nigerians have to exercise patience, because the damage done to the power sector didn't happen overnight. So it's also naturally expected that the fixing, the solution to the problem is not going to happen overnight. However, like I always say, sincerity of purpose is always missing when politicians speak, because the minister is a politician. There's nothing you're going to do about that. It is what it is. The president himself is a politician, maybe politician in chief, as it were. I said that very respectfully. However, the point being made here is the minister himself, who is a representative of the federal government, apparently has said that, look, there is crisis in this sector. And he has laid a part of the blame in front of the distribution companies that you say you don't like being called discos for whatever reason you're going to share later. But more importantly, the point being made here is that as it stands today, Nigeria cannot boast generally of constant power supply. You may say, yes, in so-and-so area, they can have light for between 19 and 22 hours. But the question is, what happened to 24 hours? The question is that the same thing across that city, across that community, or across even a region? Let's not talk about the entire country. So we have that. The minister has also said that going forward, this government wants to ensure that at least 2 million meters are distributed on an annual basis, which, according to him, by his own assessments, between a period of 4 to 5 years, that metering gap would have been closed. He says, worst case scenario, if that gap is not totally closed, at least it will be drastically minimized. I'm not going to ask you if you had power when you left the house this morning.
Obviously not. As you can see, my dress, I wouldn't want to reveal that on camera.
You couldn't stretch your clothes.
I could not stretch my clothes. And this is because
thank God for half shorts.
How short?
Half shorts.
Half shorts, yes, obviously. If not, you'd have been seeing how rumpled my... but it's not a rumpled.
But again, that's also a pointer to your commitment to the job, right?
My commitment to the job, exactly. So you have to show up regardless of,
all of those obstacles.
And keep it together.
Yes.
So as regards, the power sector and what the minister is saying, like you said, we keep hearing that, you have to have patience. And as you rightly pointed, it's almost beginning to seem like patience is, one of the renewed hope agenda, because when
like it comes with the package.
It comes with the package, because we're being told to be patient, and we're patient, but we don't see, we're not told how long we're going to be patient for. We need you to be patient, be assured. I think with the last administration, we were being told that we're always constantly being assured that this would work out, things will, measures are being put in place to ensure this and this and this. And I think with this administration now, we're being told that we have to be patient and see that things are put in place. But in as much as we are patient, are they really putting in the work to ensure that, power is evenly distributed and all of that? I understand that there are challenges like vandals, destroying some of the transformers and some of the wires and all that. But that doesn't take away the fact that while the vandals could be vandalizing or sabotaging the efforts of the PHCN and other related organizations, the work needs to be put in to see that power is evenly distributed.
I think one of the challenges, again, which I was discussing with a colleague earlier today, another colleague, by the way, was the issue of estimated billing for houses without meters, because obviously it's not the same metrics for metered consumers as you have for those who have not been metered yet. And then again, that raises several questions, including why have people not been metered and so on and so forth. But we're just going to take a quick break now. It's Ramadan month, no doubt about that. We've heard politicians and influential people across this country tell Muslims and by extension Nigerians to say, look, this is the best time to reflect on nationhood, be more committed, pray for Nigeria, and be patriotic. But just prior to this time, our partner correspondent, Abdullah Danjuma, had put together for us a report covering the Zakat Day, which is very sacrosanct for our Muslim brothers.
The National Zakat Day is an event that is part of the Al-Habibiyya Zakat and Endowment Foundation. Zakat is a form of almsgiving considered a religious duty on all Muslims who meet the necessary criteria of wealth to help the needy. It is a mandatory charitable contribution in Islam. The Al-Habibiyya Zakat Foundation collects and disburses the zakat to the poor in a transparent manner as stipulated by Islamic tradition.
We discovered that people are not paying their zakat as rightly and as correctly as they were supposed to do. We do not have Islamic government that can enforce it, but we have to use another method that we can encourage our people to pay zakat. Hence the declaration of National Zakat Day in Al-Habibiyya.
We are urging people to revive this commandment of God that we should pay zakat. So it is for us to remind ourselves and others that we are living a pillar of Islam that is very, very important.
This third National Zakat Day was marked by a lecture entitled Waqf, Combating Poverty, and is considered a timely topic in view of the prevailing economic challenges in the country. The lecture explained the idea of Waqf, which has to do with donating a building, plot of land or other assets for Islamic, religious or charitable purposes with no intention of reclaiming it. It is an Islamic idea of ensuring the alleviation of poverty and equity in society.
It is so technical that if the Muslims were able to employ the tools of Waqf, nobody will be poor in this country. It is something that is inbuilt, it is something that is perpetual, it is something that is relevant, it is something that will make life better for people if we listen and we practice Waqf.
The participants agreed that Nigeria is a religious country and the government should be able to use this idea to ensure the preservation of social harmony in the society.
The government should set up something like they call religious departments that will be able to bring out those things, give them the opportunity to be doing those things, and backed by law that when people see that a particular group is doing well, everybody will buy into it. And nobody will force anybody to do anything. The most important is that we want our country to be better, and any tool that we can use to change the narrative should be employed by government.
Congratulations, ma'am.
The indigent beneficiaries of the zakat were later presented with the items that will assist them in engaging in profitable ventures with the hope of sustaining it and getting out of poverty.
The vision of the Al-Habibiyya Islamic Society is to make Islam more acceptable and respectable by the generality of people through good conduct and practice of Islam. The Al-Habibiyya considers this humanitarian effort as an important development activity which is capable of societal transformation if implemented effectively.
Al-Habibiyya Islamic Society also collects alms and gifts from willing believers who may give specific instructions on how it should be used. Danjuma Abdullahi.
American music star Chris Brown is one of the most popular international stars in Afrobeat, especially for many collaborations with Nigerian music stars. Chris Brown and Davido have a close professional and personal relationship that has birthed multiple exciting singles. Since the duo worked together on the smash hit single Blow My Mind of Davido's second album, A Good Time, the duo has gone on to perform in 4 different songs. Chris Brown featured Davido on Lower Body of his album Indigo. Davido and the hit-making producer Kudo also co-wrote the hit single Under the Influence in the Indigo album. Davido tapped Chris Brown and Young Thug for Shopping Spree on his third album, A Better Time, in 2020, before featuring on Chris Brown's Nobody Has to Know in 2022. Recently, Davido and Lil J earned their first Billboard Hot 100 entries courtesy of their appearance on Chris Brown's Sensational, which is the lead single of his latest album, 1111. Last week, Chris Brown announced another new collaboration with Davido, which will be featuring on the upcoming deluxe version of his album, 1111. The song will be Davido and Chris Brown's 6th collaboration as they both continue to build a formidable team. Canadian megastar Drake has joined his compatriot Justin Bieber as the artist with the most songs with over 1 billion streams on Spotify across all credits. The multiple platform selling rapper matched Justin Bieber's Spotify record after No Guidance. His collaboration with Chris Brown surpassed 1 billion streams. Drake is one of the best-selling artists in the world whose music continues to push commercial boundaries of hip-hop after the release of his 8th solo album For All the Dogs. The Grammy winner tied Michael Jackson's record for having 13th number in one Billboard Hot 100 hits after reaching the summit at the chart with the first-person shooter featuring J. Cole. Nigerian music superstar Burna Boy is popularizing the use of sampling in Nigerian music with some of his hit singles sampling several classic records. At the Atlanta stop of his I Told Them tour on Saturday, Burna Boy brought out American R&B star Tonya Braxton, who dazzled the fans at a sold-out All-State Farm Arena. Tonya Braxton joined Burna Boy for a mesmerizing radiation of his hit single Last Last, on the which they sampled her classic single He Wasn't Man Enough, released in the year 2000. The performance added depth and variety to the context experienced as the Nigerian superstar combined with the American legend who also performed her hit single to a grateful crowd. At this historic performance at the 66th Grammy Award, Burna Boy performed Sitting on Top of the World alongside 21 Savage and Brandy, whose single Top of the World he sampled for the record-breaking song. And that is that on entertainment. I am Samuel Odi. Do enjoy the rest of your day.
Was Zakat's Day put together by our partner correspondent Danjuma Abdullahi. We're very grateful for that piece there, and then it was followed by entertainment put together by our own Chunk Annabelle Joseph. But let's turn to happenings across the country. Turns out our first stop is Edo State, where something very troubling has happened, and I was just discussing that with Queen off the record a while ago, and it's not only shameful, but it is what society has become with regards to the pursuit of wealth. How that a man I mean, material wealth, that is, right? A man has been held for allegedly beheading his own daughter. His own daughter. It wasn't a movie scene, right? It wasn't a reenactment. I mean, real life. And to think that he did it in presence of his wife, like in front of his wife. Now, the story says he had his wife tied hands and legs, then gagged, and then he just decapitated the girl in front of his wife. And now he was caught with the victim's head in a polythene bag. He's now being questioned by law enforcement. And what got me really disturbed was how that his wife had said the man allegedly had been telling her, look, from this point on, don't look at me like a poor man anymore. In the midst of that, he was also alleged to have been buying drinks for his friends and colleagues as though he was throwing a party, apparently, from what the woman said, in anticipation of all of the wealth to come, because he had already been convinced, apparently. And some people are now saying, well, for him to have done that in the presence of his wife, he didn't even have to hide it. It means there's a likelihood that's the instruction that he got. But this is not a standalone story, because we have seen this happen time and again. We've seen boys, some of them called Yahoo boys, all right, having to do same, I mean, give same treatments to their girlfriends, some of them to their wives, some of them to their sisters, some to their moms, their parents generally. And somebody had done an article sometime in 2022 about ritual killing, money ritual killing, because people take part in ritual killing for different reasons. But for the most part, the ones we see are around wealth. You know, you want to make more money, you want to be influential, so of course you can either make more money or use your money to buy some sort of influence and things like that. And it just makes rubbish of people who work hard legitimately, people who are creative, innovative, I mean, wearing their thinking hats every day, going to work in the rain, under the sun, not just to make ends meet, but to make society a better place. I mean, like you and I are doing this morning, like all of our colleagues, you know, across the country are doing this morning. I mean, how do you balance all of this? Because somebody said, imagine someone who dropped out maybe in primary 4 or 5. I mean, this is your classmate, primary 4 or 5, they drop out. And then you go through the rigors, the academic rigors, right? All the way, hopefully through at least a bachelor's degree, and then service, and then you have to, you know, walk through the mill of trying to learn skills on the job, trying to build capacity in a particular sector or industry. Meanwhile, just before you even got to 300 level, this person probably is now a multimillionaire because they had done ritual, because they had cut corners some way, which you didn't want to do, maybe because of your personal values, your personal principles, your persuasion about life and morality, and all of that. And somebody says, you did dull, as we say in pidgin parlance. This is one of those very sad stories, isn't it?
I'm trying to imagine the rationale behind
the action.
First of all, I'm going to come back to having to go through all of the struggle, go through schools, the rigors and everything, as opposed to your colleagues who just drops out from school and then is doing well. I'll come to that. But first of all, we're talking about a father and his daughter, his biological daughter.
That's right.
And the fact that he did it in presence of his wife. He had, obviously, I was going to ask, what was the wife doing at that time? But like you said, and like it's reported, he had his wife tied down, and so he could, perpetrate that act. His orientation, he must have been brainwashed, because as far as I'm concerned, these people who do rituals and who put their hands in dirty things, who say that, oh, the Yahoo Plus and all of that, they're never as rich as Bill Gates. They never make it to the records as maybe Nigeria's richest man, or the richest man even in your village or in your state.
That's right.
Okay, so I still don't believe that you make wealth from killing people or doing, all of this. So obviously he must have been involved in some, maybe like in a cabal or some group of people.
Some sort of fetish cults.
Fetish cults, exactly. For you to have been, and it takes a lot of, he must have also been, his psyche must have been worked on. Some sort, because how do you come to that point where you now make the decision and you're bold enough to carry it out in front of your wife? He must have been brainwashed and told that certainly if he does this, he's going to make money immediately. And then he did it. When I heard the story, first of all, when you told me about the story, I was like, what's going on? Are we about to witness another, story of, but just getting to know that he did it and did it in presence of his wife is sad. And I like the fact that he was apprehended. He has been apprehended, and he's going to face the full wrath of the law. Now, to people who go for money rituals and who think that money rituals is, the way to go, following maybe economic hardship, or just want to cut corners, there's never a shortcut to anything. It might seem short. It might seem, this is me speaking categorically to people who want to take shortcuts. It might seem short. It might look like it's the easiest way out, but on the long run, it's going to be longer for you. Take, for instance, you put your hands in some fetish stuff, and then you begin to do, you go ahead, kill people. That's what tell you how delusional the society is. These things don't last. You kill somebody, you hear of, it's saddening to hear that a boyfriend is killing his girlfriend for money rituals to make wealth. At what end? To what end exactly? Where do you hope to go from there? Where is our humanity, for crying out loud? This is a fellow human being like you, and you put that person on the slaughter and kill that person for how much and for how far? And now the thing is, we hear this a lot. There's nothing good about evil. The devil does not give you anything for free. He's going to come after you and take your entire being at large. For example, he gives you a car. He comes after your life and those things are short-lived. They are short-lived. So you might be flying around in the most expensive things for now, but in the long run, there are repercussions, whether you like it or not. If you don't get caught by officials, or you don't get caught by the security agencies, it will come, we see it in the movies. They happen in the movies. So you enjoy this for a while, and then your mind begins to tell you, maybe you begin to hear voices, you run mad at the end of the day, and all that. And all. No, it sounds funny, but it happens. And sometimes it's because your conscience, at some point, maybe your conscience begins to prick you and then haunt you. And then you hear cases because you have killed. You have put your hands in blood for material things.
And there's a price to pay for that.
And now it's even more sickening to know that you kill not just a random person or anybody. We hear of stories where people kill people. You kill your own blood in presence of. Now there are a lot of things I'm considering. The psyche of the woman right now. What is she thinking? How, it's different. It's different. Most fathers cannot even afford to see their children go through pain. How much more kill them? And let's now talk about the mother, the person who bore this person, who had this child in her womb for 9 months, nurtured this child. I really don't know how old the child is. Or was before what happened, but you know the pain, even if it's a day-old baby. You know how traumatizing it can be for mothers who lose their child or have their children die prematurely. We know how traumatizing. Sometimes you hear their experiences. They tell you, for 3 years, for 4 years, I've been battling depression, I've been going through this and this and this, because of the way the children or the child died in the most unexpected and traumatic manner. How much more having to see your child now being beheaded by his or her father right in front of you. I think the woman needs to go through some sort of evaluation,
I agree.
To help her. And then at that point where he was talking about, maybe, like she said, he had been talking about, how she's going to get wealthy, this is the last time we'll be. I know at some point you would, maybe the wife would be happy. That's some positive affirmation, or that, optimistic, that something is going to happen. Right. And for someone like me who loves to hear people talk about, where they're going to, or what they want to do, positive, when they're positive, I like to have positive people around, I would be excited. But I know that there are some things that he will have done that would have been a little bit extreme or out of way.
Some red flags?
Red flags that should pointers that should tell you that, no, this man is not going in the right direction.
Just don't
something
check
that
out.
He must have at some point.
So the question is,
what did she do at that point?
Fail to read between the lines?
Maybe.
She didn't pick the hints?
Yeah, pick the hints. And then he must have been having maybe late nights, hanging around certain kinds of people, saying certain things, doing certain things that are weird. Those will have been red flags. I know that those are not enough to still, stop some actions
to suspect something of this magnitude.
Yes, exactly, this magnitude, and maybe foresee some actions that could be very sporadic. You would not be able to.
What were those elements that you noticed about him that were not usual of him?
Exactly.
Right. I think that's also, sixth sense factor and all of that. But again, it also shows that we need to take a second look at our priorities as human beings, young people in particular. What exactly are you pursuing? The fact of the matter is there are some things that you shouldn't be bothered about at age 25, for example, because those things are supposed to be for maybe between 35 and 40. I'm not putting specifics to this. I'm just saying that we shouldn't put the cart before the horse, right? So you're 21, for example, all you're thinking about is the next, I don't want to call brands now, next big vehicle of 40 million, because there's a guy or a man 2 houses away from yours who drives it. You are just maybe 19, your 3rd year university.
And you're not doing anything commensurate.
No, in fact, you're at university, you live with your parents. Your mom feeds you, they send you pocket money or upkeep money, whatever it is. Your parents are 100% responsible for your upkeep, for your welfare and everything, from health to your academics, everything that has to do with you, they're responsible, right? But there's this man 2 houses away who drives a vehicle of, let's say, 40 million. You love the SUV. You're craving it like your life depends on it or your life revolves around it. This man is in his late 50s. He's been working hard since he was 18.
Exactly.
Right? He has been working hard. He has acquired skills. He has gone to school. Do you understand? He has been run through the mills, like my former boss would say. But you are not there yet. Yet you can't sleep at night because it is that SUV you're thinking about the whole time. And you know the way it works with what you think about most. Your most predominant thoughts. The next thing you know is you're buying that vehicle in your dream, or you're driving it in your dream, and you're discussing it with your friends. It becomes an obsession. And then you're becoming desperate and you're vehemently looking for any which way, as they say, to get it. And one thing leads to another. And then you make it to the news for the wrong reasons.
For the wrong reasons.
Yeah.
So I think we need to draw the line, desperation. And there are certain things that you should not be desperate about that will come in due time and in due season. It's good to want to desire something, to love it, to want it. But you should know where you are now and, what you're doing that is commensurate. Some people are not doing anything that, would amount to. You're just hungry for things that people who have spent or have toiled years to acquire, and you want it in an instant. Right. And you think that any which way, you must get it. You'd definitely be in the news for the wrong reasons, and you definitely maybe soil your hands to get it because you are desperate and you want to get it. Now, I want to think what that man is thinking, that obviously he did not kill his wife, but he did that. Was it an instruction? I'm trying to
Why was it his daughter, not his wife?
Why was it his daughter, not his wife? And then why did he have to do it in presence of his wife? What was he thinking, that the woman would not come out to say,
to speak up?
Did he do anything to silence her?
Or he thought he was going to make so much money, he'll be so protected.
Yes, or
nothing will happen to him.
Or he'll be able to buy her off, when he makes that money. What was he thinking, that the money will come the moment he put the knife on her neck? Or, there's a lot of questions. And I think he should be investigated further. And then maybe his cult, his gang members should also be apprehended. Because for him to have come out...
They go at large.
They go at large. And it means for him to have been exposed, it means other people, other members of that cult, must have in some form or the other, done something
similar or worse.
Or worse. So they should be investigated. Right. They should be probed further.
I think that's quite an issue that needs to be tackled. We're just sick and tired of all of these stories about how one man in Ibadan, one in Edo,
especially in Ogun State,
one in Kaduna, or in Ogun State, in Rivers, found with human head, found with his skull, found with something, blood, corpse, people buried in shallow graves and all of that, right? Because whether you like it or not, we may not be 100% a decent society, but we've got to bring a level of decency that is acceptable. But as it stands right now, we are very, very far away from it. We're taking a quick break. When we return, our first guest on the program will join us. We're also ready for paper review for you this morning, but let's take it one step at a time.